There was a moment when Halo made millions of players stop and look at the sky. Think about that for a second. Not because there was an objective pointing upwards, not because a cutscene told us to, we looked up because we wanted to. For a brief moment, Halo convinces us that we were standing somewhere impossible. Not on a level, not inside a game, on another world. 25 years later, games are bigger than ever. Photorealistic graphics, open worlds that we can take hours to cross, artificial intelligence that developers in 2001 could only dream about. And yet, very few games have recreated that feeling. But why? What was so special about Halo that millions of players still remember stepping onto that ring? When I first started thinking about this video, I thought the answer will be extremely obvious. Halo was revolutionary. Surely there had to be one thing that explained everything. But every time I thought I had found the answer, another question appeared. So why don't you come here with me and investigate it? Because I don't think Halo became legendary for the reason most people think. My first theory was simple. It had to be the scale. The first time you leave the escape pod, your eyes naturally drift upward. The ring stretches across the sky. Mountains disappear into the horizon. The world feels impossibly large. Even today, it's one of the most memorable reveals in gaming history. That has to be it. Except, Halo wasn't actually that big. The original Xbox simply couldn't render the world that large. So Bungie cheated. They hid the edge of the world behind mountains. They used fog to suggest distance. They carefully framed every vista so your imagination will finish what the hardware couldn't. Halo didn't feel enormous because it was enormous. It felt enormous because Bungie understood something that many games still forget. Players don't experience the size of the world. They experience the size of their imagination. That's the first lesson Halo teaches us. Technology creates limits, design hides it. But then another question appeared. If scale was really the answer, why don't games today feel even bigger? Modern games are hundreds of times larger than Halo. Some contain entire planets, yet very few makes us stop and simply look around. So maybe the scale wasn't the answer after all. Then I remember the grunts. Not because they were difficult, because they were afraid. Today, that doesn't sound particularly impressive. Back then, it was shocking. Most shooters treated enemies like targets. They walked, they shot, they died. Halo was different. Kill the elite, leading a squad, and suddenly the grunts panic. Some scream, some run away, some stop fighting altogether. Wait, they can do that? That tiny moment completely changes the firefight. You're no longer shooting targets, you're fighting creatures trying to survive. Then you start noticing even more. Jackals protect one another, hunters force completely different tactics, elites become aggressive when they realize they're winning. Every encounter unfolds a little differently. Not because Bungie scripted every possibility, because the world behaved consistently enough that your brain stopped seeing AI and started seeing life. Halo didn't build intelligent enemies, it built believable ones. And players don't remember intelligent AI, they remember believable behavior. But then, another problem appeared. Games today have AI that's vastly more sophisticated. Machine learning, complex behavior trees, entire teams dedicated to NPC behavior. So why don't they feel more alive than Halo? Once again, my theory fell apart. Maybe it wasn't the AI either. So, if it was not the scale, and it was not the AI, what was I missing? Then I remember something that had nothing to do with technology. The Master Chief barely spoke. Today, that almost sounds like a bad storytelling. Modern games love giving protagonists personalities. They explain what they're feeling, what they're thinking, why they're making every decision. Master Chief did almost none of that. At first, I thought Bungie had simply written a quiet protagonist, but then I asked myself something. Can you remember what Master Chief actually said during the first Halo? Probably not, but you almost certainly remember what it felt like to be him. That's a strange thing, because Bungie wasn't trying to make Master Chief memorable. They were trying to make you forget he existed. The less he spoke, the more room there was for you. When Cortana spoke, she wasn't talking to a character, she was talking to you. When Sergeant Johnson barked orders, you followed them. When you stepped into Halo, it wasn't Master Chief discovering another universe, it was you. Halo never asked you to watch an explorer, it quietly invited you to become one. For a moment, I thought I finally found the answer, this is it. Maybe immersion came from the silent protagonist, except that didn't explain everything either. Silent protagonists existed before Halo, and they've existed ever since. Something else was happening, something bigger. Then I remember the first Covenant weapon I ever picked up, the Needler. Even today, it doesn't look like a weapon. Purple crystals grow out of the back. Nothing about it makes sense. You pull the trigger, the projectiles curve through the air, and then they explode. You've never seen anything like it before. Immediately, another question appears. What does the next weapon do? Then you find the plasma pistol, the plasma rifle, the fuel rod cannon, the energy sword. Every Covenant weapon feels like learning another piece of an alien civilization. You're not just finding better equipment, you're trying to understand another culture, another way of fighting, another world, and Bungie does something incredibly clever. They never stop to explain everything. They let curiosity do the work. Every weapon answers one question, while quietly creating another. And that's exactly what keeps you exploring. But amazing weapons alone don't explain Halo. If they did, countless shooters will feel the same. Again, my theory was not complete. Then I realized I hadn't really been thinking about multiplayer at all, which is strange, because for an entire generation, Halo multiplayer wasn't something we played. It was somewhere we went. Blood Gulch, Sidewinder, Hang 'em and Hide, Capture the Flag. You didn't remember your kill count, you remembered the stories, the impossible sniper shot, the betrayal that everyone laughed about for years, the desperate Capture the Flag run with 1 silver of health left. Looking back, it's tempting to say Halo changed gaming because of Xbox Live, or because of split screen, or because of LAN parties, but I don't think that's quite right. Those were technologies. The real innovation was something much simpler. Halo created a universe that people wanted to return to. Together, every match created another story, not because the game scripted it, because the sandbox allowed it. Because every weapon, every vehicle, every map, every interaction combined into something unpredictable. You weren't grinding, you weren't completing daily challenges, you weren't thinking about experience points, you were simply having fun. And then, it finally clicked. I've been treating every one of these ideas as if they were separate. The scale, the AI, the Master Chief, the weapons, the multiplayer. 5 different reasons Halo became legendary, but they were never separate. They were all solving exactly the same problem. How do you convince someone that they've stepped into another universe? Think about it. The giant ring wasn't there simply to look impressive. It made you ask, who built this? The AI wasn't trying to be intelligent. It made you ask, did that grunt really just run away? Master Chief's silence wasn't about minimal storytelling. It left room for you to become the explorer. The Covenant weapons weren't simply different guns. They made you curious about another civilization. Even multiplayer wasn't really about competition, it let you explore that universe with other people. Every major design decision Bungie made rewarded curiosity over and over and over again, and eventually, something remarkable happened. You stopped thinking about mechanics, you stopped noticing polygons, you stopped seeing the controller in your hands. For a little while, you believed that you were somewhere else. And that is wonder. Not because Halo told you to feel it, because it earned it. It trusted your imagination, it trusted your curiosity, and together they created a universe that felt real. Then something changed. Not overnight, slowly, almost imperceptibly. Halo never forgot how to build great gunplay. It never forgot how to build fantastic multiplayer. Master Chief was still there, the Warthog was still there, the Halo rings were still there. On paper, everything looked very familiar. But it didn't feel the same way. So the questions had changed. The original Halo constantly asked, what do you want to discover? Modern Halo often asks, what do you want to unlock? Those two questions sound similar, but they're not. One points your attention towards the universe, the other one points your attention towards progression. One encourages exploration, the other encourages optimization. Battle passes, weekly challenges, unlock trees, paid cosmetics. None of these systems are inherently bad. Many games use them well, but every minute you spend thinking about progression is a minute that you're not thinking about the universe. And that's where Halo slowly lost something. Not its gameplay, its philosophy. Instead of rewarding curiosity, it increasingly rewarded completion. Instead of asking players to explore, it asked them to progress. That's a subtle difference, but subtle differences are often the ones that matter most. So, can Halo find its way back? I think it can, but not by recreating Combat Evolved, not by rebuilding the multiplayer, not by giving Master Chief fewer lines. Because wonder isn't created by copying old ideas. Wonder is created by having the courage to make players curious again, to build worlds that ask questions instead of giving answers, enemies that surprise us, weapons we've never imagined, universes that feel bigger than the hardware they're running on. Because that's what Halo was really teaching us all along. Not how to build a better shooter, how to build a world worth believing in. And maybe that's why millions of us look at the sky, not because there was something there, but because Halo made us believe there could be. Maybe Halo isn't lost because it forgot how to make great shooters. Maybe Halo is lost because somewhere along the way, it forgot to make us curious. And perhaps that's the lesson every game designer should remember. Great games don't simply give us worlds to play in, they give us worlds we can't wait to understand.